Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Welcome back to the Liberal Artist Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Bodio, and with me I have Kaylie Horowitz.
Howdy do.
And Andy Gibson.
Fallout. I had to get close to my mic because I got excited.
Yeah, I guess so.
There is no clever intro, only Fallout.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's just do it, huh?
Again! You're getting some condensed episodes, folks. We hadn't got time to talk about anything else.
Wait, hold up. We said we usually wait until like halfway through the episodes to say this. Spoilers ahead.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Otherwise, I would have spoiled about 5 games worth of lore, which would have been a great episode, I'm sure. You know.
And also, it's actually timely. Look at us talking about a thing that just came out. Wow. We're
That's
so trendy and on like the curve of what's cutting edge. Wow.
Should we wait like 5 months?
Probably.
Yeah.
No, I can't
But you
wait
know
5
what?
months.
If Amazon just went fuck it and bumped a whole show up like 3 months, then you know what? We'll go with them. That's the wild part to me, was like, yeah, Fallout's coming out this summer. And then 3 days ago it was like, hey, surprise! It's coming out tomorrow. What?
Yeah.
But we watched the Fallout series just to get on and talk about it. Gibby tricked me. He was like, yeah, this will be a quick episode, and it's 8 movies tied together, which I'm not happy about.
It's 8 crispy movies.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
No, the cumulative experience is like, that's like saying, oh, Lord of the Rings is a 2-hour movie. No, it's not. It's a 12-hour experience, and it fucking sucks. There, I said it.
Damn.
You're wrong, but I respect your right to have that wrong opinion.
So how am I going to trick you into watching the Lord of the Rings musical when we finally get a bootleg of that?
You won't.
Damn it.
So, Fallout is a beloved video game series made by, I forget the original developers.
Interplay? I think Interplay.
Interplay, yeah.
You can't take all the credit, Bethesda.
Bethesda bought them, created 3 mid-ass games, and Obsidian made 1 pretty solid game.
Accurate.
I have no emotional attachment to Fallout.
Kaylie, do you?
Not really. My experience with Fallout was learning about it when I got into like anime and conventions and seeing people walking around in like your big Gundam suits, your other just sort of cool like Transformer things, and then you've got like not just like big daddies from BioShock, but then these other big hunky metal armor things. I'm like, what is that? Like that was my first like, oh, this is Fallout. This is the vibes, and then kind of learning about that. And it's kind of like Portal, but it's kind of like BioShock, but it's also a whole bunch of other things. We love an apocalyptic science gone wrong, but also weirdly mutantly right.
People do.
And I
love
tried
that.
playing Fallout New Vegas when I had no desktop to my name and I just had my big ass editing laptop in high school. I tried playing Fallout New Vegas, and I could get it to play, and I did enjoy, like, that was the first Fallout game I touched, and I was like, I am enjoying this, and I do get why people are into this, but I was not able to, like, play consistently, that I forgot what I was doing in the game, so much so that, like, I just completely bungled a mission thinking, I've got to go in and kill all these people in order to rescue this person, not realizing I could, like, smooth talk my way in, or just not be bothered because I'm not a threat on their radar. But I definitely was when I murdered them all, so...
Yeah, the only thing I know about Fallout New Vegas is that it's apparently every trans girl's favorite video game.
Right! That's the other
I don't
thing
know,
I know about it.
I don't know where that came from. I stole that joke from a trans girl, and it's just, okay.
It's Fallout and it's coding. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't make the rules. It just is. Fallout New Vegas unintentionally says trans rights, which, hell yeah.
Yeah.
The entire game is blue, pink, and white. Who would have guessed, man? It's
Hell
crazy.
yeah, brother. But no, I have like a fondness for Fallout, but certainly not an emotional attachment.
Gibby, you love these games, huh?
Yeah.
Look at him smiling. Look at him. Look at his dumb little face.
He's cheesing pretty hard.
I'll keep this short. I once picked up a gaming magazine in middle school that had an article all about the brand new Fallout 3 that was coming out, and I saw just a couple pictures, and I said, "Okay, so this is what video games are." Because up until that point, it was all Nintendo, and I saw somebody's head being blown to smithereens, and I went, this is different. And circa 15 years later, I've put well over 1,000 hours of like my very short life on Earth into this series. Mostly New Vegas, but a hell of a lot of 4 and a hell of a lot of 3 and a little bit of 1 and 2 as well.
Quarter life crisis. You need more hours.
It's true. But I think the best way to display my reverence for the series is a video I'll share later and splice some clips of right here of my excitement when I was 19 years old. I recorded my first ever reaction video, for God knows why, to the Fallout 4 teaser trailer, and a neatly shaved, like beardless pompadour Gibby is watching it with just such innocence. Oh my god, a Deathclaw. Oh my god, the Enclave. Ghouls. Blimp. It is I looked back on it recently and I was just like, there he is. There's that child I once knew. And
what happened to him?
This.
What killed him?
2016 onwards, but whatever. It was 2015. We were vibing then.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Speaking of, man, so Fallout, as the video game series, and by extension the TV series, is kind of a commentary on the U.S. They tell what do we just say? We love a good post-apocalyptic story.
Yeah.
And that's the series in general. And then
we've covered BioShock. Instead of going underwater or in the sky, it just sucks.
Yeah,
it's just bad.
Fictional version of the U.S. where we never moved quite past the 20s.
The whole deal with the lore is that I'll keep this super short. There was a revival of interest in aesthetic.
Nah, King,
with the 50s.
Pop off. Go for it.
Go, fam. This is your special interest moment.
Yeah. There it is. Let's go special interest time for Gibby.
Let's go special interest. Let's go.
Yeah, there was a revival for 50s aesthetic. It does take place in the future, despite the fact that for some ungodly reason, they're still watching things on black and white TV.
Well, it's because it was the aesthetic they were going for the game. And the
aesthetic.
The justification is the world got nuked.
Yeah.
Some people, the more well-off or connected people, were able to get into bunkers, vaults.
The vaults.
Excuse me. There's a number of vaults.
That's the copywritten name.
Yeah.
Vault Tech.
There are a number of vaults across the U.S. where people bunkered down and created new lives for themselves, while other people either got wiped out by nuclear fallout. The name. Or
if I do a thumbs up,
mutated
does that bring
lived.
it full circle?
Yeah, we just get like quick roll to credits. You know what I'm saying?
Excellent.
It's like ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Anyway.
I don't want to set the world on fire.
So the entire thing is Mad Max with a dash of the 1950s with a little bit of generic cowboy western.
Yeah.
Man. That's Fallout.
But a great soundtrack. I will always have a soft spot for like games and apocalypse media that just goes like full 50s like crooning mixed with some earlier 30s big band kind of stuff. Like, love it. 10 out of 10.
I don't want to say they were like the originator for it, but they were the really big like popularizer for it. That's probably not a word. I don't give a shit. It's my special interest episode.
Yeah.
They're a big promoter for it, which is where a lot of people first heard music from the 30s and 40s.
Yes.
Yeah, you got a lot of that in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, and you get a lot more country western with Fallout New Vegas.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wanderer. How many times can you play Wanderer while you're just like out in the middle of nowhere in Nevada? There's
only so many times that you can hear Johnny guitar without wanting to throw your computer into a ditch. But it's interesting because it's in California, so you get a little bit of both of those with the soundtrack.
Give us a quick synopsis of the series, not the Netflix, the Netflix Amazon Prime series. All these fucking streaming, they're all the fucking same. Give us a quick synopsis of the TV show, Gibby.
Basically, it's 3 separate playthroughs of a Fallout game at the same time. One with good karma, one with neutral karma, and one with bad karma. You have Lucy, the very sweet but quite naive vault dweller who's like, I'm going to save America, but first I got to find my dad. You have Maximus, who really like put all of his points into endurance and luck and none of them into intelligence or charisma whatsoever.
Truly, absolutely, definitely.
Yeah, the Brotherhood of Steel member who just keeps failing upwards somehow. And then you have the Ghoul, Cooper Howard, a former actor, famous 50s cowboy guy who evidently has had a few too many rads, popped a nose off,
He ain't got no nose!
Stopped doing his good skincare routine, I guess, because he's gone
Bestie,
full
you
ghoul.
gotta moisturize at least every day.
He's here to shoot first, ask questions later.
Is the Ghoul the neutral playthrough?
Oh no, he's like definitely on the bad karma. That guy kills a lot of people.
He has a body count.
Yeah, let's break down the R3 protagonist. I want to start with Maximus because he's a black dude and I can't.
Fair.
Maximus seems like I like this character. Because the Brotherhood of Steel, one of the iconic things from the Fallout series, basically they're a religion gone wrong. A religion based on, quote, old technology. And they have a super hierarchical knight system. Basically, we haze you until we think you're good and you're good enough to get a suit.
We love how, like, despite an apocalypse, like, so many pieces of media just go, what if we just hazed each other? We're all suffering. We're all struggling for resources together. So let's just haze the shit out of each other.
Every piece of Fallout, and this is kind of why the series, not just the TV show, but in general, every piece of Fallout is a commentary on Americana, some aspect of Americana, and the Brotherhood of Steel is the American military. Until Fallout 2, when the actual American military is around, and they're scary.
They fucking suck. Those guys,
they're just scary.
Fuck those dudes. If you ever play Fallout 2 and have to fight against Frank Horrigan, good fuck.
He's so cool. He's so cool, but he's so scary.
He's a pro wrestler in Fallout, basically, with too many guns. Fuck that shit.
Too many guns, too many guns.
The Brotherhood of Steel is the ultimate form of military worship, right? They're violent.
Yeah.
They're shoot first, ask questions later, but they're ultimately benign because the thing they worship are the line from the TV show when one of their high-ranking members is dying is, they sent me all the way out here one time for a toaster oven. Do you fucking know what you could do with a toaster oven?
Yeah.
Which I thought that was like, man, that's good writing. I like
that. This was also from a character that's like a pompous ass. You really just hate him. And there's this great monologue that I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, because again, you're just so used to wanting to punch him for saying the shit that he does that it really did strike me. I was like, shit.
And then Maximus kills him for his loot.
Yeah. Somebody's played the game.
He just lets him die. He doesn't kill him, but he does just let him go.
Maximus starts as a trainee in the Brotherhood of Steel and then co-ops a mean Brotherhood of Steel members, but he co-ops his I don't remember. Does he actually screw over his friend? It's loosely implied that he
left
does.
Vague.
I can say this since we put a spoiler warning up.
Spoilers.
In like the 7th or 8th episode, Dane admits that they put it in themselves. Like they put the switchblade in their own boot because they were scared to go out to the wilds. But Maximus has so low charisma that he's like, no, I didn't do it. I would never do that.
Truly. Right. Oh my God. That like whole interrogation scene is like, my guy, please.
But he's in a constant state of trying to prove himself, and as Gibby said, falls up.
How
do we feel about? I mean, I guess we've kind of said it. Maximus, he's a silly little guy. he's a silly little fuck up.
Like when you have characters that are either really conniving or just really heartfelt but clever and capable people, having someone that's not like too stupid to function but does not have the same like thought processes in other ways that those like competent characters do, but is like just as earnest. I enjoy that. I don't think we get enough of like characters that are trying and aren't stupid, but are just bad at the things they would really need to be good at to do what they want correctly.
Yeah. Like his heart is in the right place. Like he sees the Brotherhood as what it could be, like saviors and like heroes of the wasteland instead of like a bunch of weird tech junkies. Like and later on in the series, you know, he fucks up a lot because that's what he does.
Surprising.
But, like,
wow.
The main elder is like, yeah, you're a fuck up, but you're the only one that gets it. Like, we've completely lost our way. We're run by
We've
assholes.
lost the plot.
We're run by Michael Rappaport, which is a great cameo, by the way. But like, he's just like, you're the only one that gets what we could be instead of like a bunch of weird like techno raiders. So I appreciate that they like are able to say, he's a little confused, but he's got the spirit.
Right. He's not always right, but he's got the spirit.
There's an honesty to the character.
And you also get some of my favorite character moments are when Lucy and Maximus are exploring together. You realize by the way that they talk to each other, neither of these are well-adjusted individuals.
No.
They're very good-hearted, but neither of them know how to talk to each other whatsoever.
Pure of heart, dumb of ass.
Yeah.
It's very that. Like, it's very, like, stilted and everything.
Yeah. Maximus grew up in a faux military encampment, and Lucy grew up in...
literally sheltered in a vault.
Literally sheltered in a vault, making out with their cousins. You know?
They're teaching each other how to almost be normal.
Right.
Which there are a lot of fun character moments. Also, I'll just mention this. Maximus and Lucy find a nice vault, like an actually good one, and seeing our boy like pop on like a plush robe and eat popcorn in a chair watching TV. I was like, good for him. He deserves
it.
You made it, King.
Give Maximus his flowers.
Give him his popcorn and his caviar. He walks out to the nearest person and is like, hey, what is this? As he shoves caviar in their face. Good lad. Good lad.
He is. He's like, again, I love a character that's like capable in some ways, but just not always. Like, it's hard to be a smart character and not feel boring, because on the one hand, you hate watching stupid characters just fuck around and somehow things always work out for them.
Yeah.
But also, when you have smart characters, they're compelling, but you constantly have to keep like upping the world around them to like keep them at a competitive edge.
Yeah.
Unless the point is to just make them OP and probably asshole-ish in that sense, like a Sherlock kind of character, that a character that is so driven but has no idea what the fuck they're doing and yet tries earnestly, and it's not just played for jokes, is very exciting, because really anything could happen. And I think that's like one of my favorite things about the way the characters in the show itself is written, is that it's very good about recognizing, but it's still a video game. And shit just feels weird sometimes, and or it's allowed to be kind of weird because it's a game, and also like you as a player might just be drawn towards making the weird choice for some reason, and maybe that's just exactly what you needed.
I want to dive into what you said, but I also want to keep talking about the characters. So put that to the side. Put that to the side. I love Walton Goggins. I could watch him be a cowboy bad guy for millennia.
Is this what we're about to talk about, the ghoul?
Yes, the ghoul.
Yes, the ghoul.
He's
the
gabagool.
gabagool.
That's racist. He's my boy. He's my favorite.
Sorry. I'm sorry to all Italians.
Yeah.
I'm keeping this in. I feel like The Sopranos ruined our perception of Italians,
did.
that we just like memeified an entire like proud group of people where we're just like, hey, gabagool. And they're just like, fuck you, man.
But Walton Goggins doing his best to be a dirty cowboy one more time for the
with
boys.
no nose, looking like a bamf.
He ain't got no nose.
Got your nose.
How do we feel about the ghoul? It's strange to me that they chose to highlight this character. Like, obviously, it's Fallout. You have to have at least one ghoul, or I guess he's a super ghoul because he's intelligent. Technically.
So the difference is that
Chicken test.
Ghouls are still conscious humans who have just absorbed so much radiation that like their skin peels off a lot, and they lose their nose most often.
And can tank bullets.
Yeah, that's new.
That
Healing
wasn't in the
factor
game.
is just a thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But he was also like, while he was raising from his grave, they had like a little IV bag of radioactive blood. So I guess healing factor.
Oh,
sure.
I missed that.
Yeah, they had a couple really neat little details throughout the whole thing, but like there was a glowing green bag, and it was like, that's not ecto cooler, man. That is straight up irradiated blood. If you eat that in the game, you are in for a bad time. But if it's a ghoul, good to go, baby.
Good to go.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. The feral ghouls have absorbed so much radiation that it's melted their brains, and they have no humanity. You see more of the ferals in like episode 4 or so, where you can tell which ones are still with us and which ones are not.
The Will Ferrells.
Not funny.
Bo is anti-Will Ferrell and will always remain anti-Will Ferrell.
See truth come out. But where he's not just like badass Mad Maxy cowboy man. He's survived.
He's also,
Yeah, he survived. He was alive when the nukes went off, and he was already kind of in a shit place, washed up actor, but he lost his daughter. Oh.
Well, we don't know that yet, actually.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
We already said spoilers.
I know. It's a force of habit of like, we have to keep saying this in the middle of the episode.
Yeah.
Wait, no, we don't.
At the very least, he's been separated from his family.
Yes.
Yeah.
For maybe
200
200
years.
200 years.
Oh, yeah, like
200
200 something years, right?
Yeah, but I guess there's some to say about the character in that he has the deepest cool factor, but not a lot else.
The ghoul's an interesting guy, and you get more layers like as the series develops, which I like, especially from the time that he spends with Lucy.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
because the whole driving force behind the series is that there's a magical MacGuffin that's inside the head of an enclave scientist.
What's an
US
enclave
military,
scientist?
but the U.S. military, but extra evil.
Thank you.
Yep.
The bad guys that Bo was talking about with Fallout 2.
Yeah.
So he injected himself with something of very important glowiness.
MacGuffin!
But also the ghoul, while tracking him down, shot his fucking leg off, and
Yep.
he was just like, hey, you know what'd be easier?
A cyanide
new to
tablet.
the surface. Yeah. I'm popping a cyanide real quick. Here's a ripper, a tiny little chainsaw that you can use to cut my head off. Go ahead and drag my head across the wasteland. That's easier than like picking up my whole body, which is like, okay, that is very true by Fallout logic, but
I was gonna say, like,
horrifying
this
in
is the
general.
most like, oh right, I'm in a video game that's a television show kind of moment right now.
Which is honestly
Oh.
would not be the first time in Fallout that I've had to carry a severed head somewhere.
Right. Like,
It's only natural.
you adjust, you get used to it, you just don't think about it for a while.
Yeah, but like as you see people team up to get the magical MacGuffin head and drag it to all the different places where they want to take it, you get to see a few more sides of him, being the very pointed asshole who's just like, well, I guess you're bait now, as he dunks Lucy into an irradiated lake to try to get a giant awful fish that ate the head back to the surface, or him just being like, you're certainly welcome to put your hand on your gun, but I will fucking blast you.
Yeah.
To getting more layers of him, to see him working with people, to see him being buddies with Dog Meat, the dog.
Yeah.
Dog meat.
It was interesting that they gave him dog meat. I'll say that after he stabs dog meat. I'll be completely honest.
Saves him.
You get a lot of flashbacks of like how important his dog, when he was, you know, a human 200 years ago, like how important his dog was to him. Like his first big argument with his wife about going to the vaults is that they can't have dogs in the vaults.
Yeah.
So like good flashbacks to give like more character. And
He also
understand the
felt
backstory
like
better.
just because, you know, he's cowboy badass man who obviously can turn on the game's I win button. He definitely had vaults turned on.
Yeah, he had the bloody mess perk. He had the Lord Death perk, so that as soon as he killed somebody, he gets all his action points back and can kill the next guy.
Damn it.
It's interesting to me that they picked, let's make the ghoul the most kind of generic video game character. Give him kind of the most generic video game character arc, where it's like, Walton Goggins, just be a cool guy and with a country accent, and you know, go in. You'll shoot some folks.
Backstory.
And a dark back. I lost my wife. You
I
know.
lost my wife, Tails. I
But
miss her. I'll be back.
I will say this. I like that in all of his backstory that we get about him, he's never the bad guy. He's never the asshole about anything. From his perspective, we get to learn more about the true villains of the Fallout series, Vault Tech. As soon as I knew we were in a vault, like I was just like, all right, what's the fucked up shit that we're gonna see?
Yeah.
And through Vault Tech and through all the flashbacks we get, you get capitalism at its very most evil.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
For the knowledge of the audience, vaults are basically experiments that they put a bunch of rich people into, that even more rich people are going, let's fuck with them. That's the entire series. There it is. There you go. Forget the Brotherhood, forget like the communists, forget everything. It's just a bunch of like, imagine Elon Musk running the Stanford prison experiment. That's what Vault Tech is.
For 300 years.
It's very bad.
Yeah.
Not a great time.
So
but
he's
not
the one
worst
discovering
time.
the mystery of it, which is a nice little twist.
Speaking of the vaults, let's talk about our little vault dweller, Lucy.
Lucy.
How do we feel about Lucy?
Okie dokie.
Right, truly sweet, precious cinnamon roll energy. But again, in a way, I love the way these characters are written, because it feels like she would have been, if this came out 10 years ago, she would have been like, in some small corner, because there's always a corner that goes, fuck female protagonists, despite all the times we say we want female protagonists.
Yeah, those are different people asking for female protagonists.
Sometimes it's the same, where it's, yes, this, but not like that, no. But 10 years ago, she would have been like poster child, like precious uwu cinnamon roll must be protected at all costs kind of like character. And I really like that energy is still within her. And yet she can be so pleasant and kind and nice and still so capable.
Yeah.
Like getting in the first episode, like we spend most of the entire first episode just following Lucy and vault life and what does it mean to live in the future underground in a facsimile approximation of Nebraska and cornfields, but in a metal bunker. And we learned that she's very, very capable. Not only are people like trained and taught in the ways of like whatever their agriculture or their trade or whatever is, but also like in like activities for enrichment as well as activities for survival and protection, that like she starts rattling off like this kind of list of achievements and anecdotes as she's hoping to be matched with a marriage partner in another vault because this one is becoming increasingly too related. That it's this like, right, we get some really nice exposition of just like, it's not just that she's like just best girl or like Mary Sue can just do all the things. It's that like, what else do you do when you live in this isolated little fucking Midwest utopia that is dealing with the idea of chaos and pandemonium, but we haven't gone outside in 200 years and we aren't planning to for like another generation at least.
Yeah.
So we're just going to be ready for everything, vaulters. and like being able to package that into a character that is then so just oppositionally like mentally on a different place of like, I know how to kill a man. Hi guys, how are you today? Like
we saw those Brazilian jiu-jitsu
that.
takedowns. Like she knows what she's doing.
Right. Like it again, spoilers, her husband that is
it's if you've ever played a Bethesda if you've ever played a Bethesda,
oh come on,
homie's never done
attractive.
Never done a push-up in his life. He's got sad pecs.
There's a fight that breaks out and I was like sitting there going, oh no, Lucy, no, and then forgetting like, wait the fuck up. No, she could absolutely destroy this man
if you've
the
ever,
moment she gets the upper hand again.
If you've ever played a Bethesda Fallout game, it's literally the same opening. You're in a vault, somebody takes your family member, go find your family member.
Pretty much.
It's all of the Bethesda ones. It's literally all of them.
What if we just do it again?
Right. Fuck you, Todd Howard.
Todd!
I'll fucking do it again.
And you'll buy it. I'm like, no, I won't.
But I do actually like that. And again, I've only seen 2 1/10 episodes. But what I like is that we're trying to kind of set up that like, on the one hand, while other characters are realizing from the surface, shit's not right with Vault-Tec, that characters in the vault, like Lucy's brother, we hear about the Vault 33 when they come over, or Vault 32. When they come over, we hear something about a wheat plague, like their crop has died. And we're teased a little bit in the first episode, and I imagine like more comes out of it later, but just the like, characters are smart enough to recognize when shit sounds whack, and like, yes, we realize that, oh, this entire party that came from this vault were actually raiders. These weren't these people, but also what the fuck happened here? Like, it's just good, like, for as many characters as you're giving us, you're also showing that like each one does, for the like each kind of main focal point character has a purpose, and we're going to follow them to start piecing more of the mystery together between like 5-6 characters.
I also feel like the starry-eyed sweetheart is, and this is a little sexist of me, but I'm going to say it anyway. I feel like the starry-eyed sweetheart is more digestible when it comes from a female body than when a male body. It feels kind of Pinocchio.
You don't see a lot of Boy Scouts.
Exactly.
In media.
When you do have the Boy Scouts, it always feels fake, or
or you have the Venture Brothers, and you have the Venture Brothers,
right? And that's the and that's the butt of
that's the point.
But that's the butt of the joke, right? It's like these two are Rosencrantz and Guildenstern couldn't pass a second grade test. That's the Venture Brothers. Right?
Yeah.
Versus Fallout, this Fallout series, it's like, yeah, she's coming from a vault, so obviously it's her coming to the real world and being, some folks would call it coming to reality. I would call it the corruption of innocence, the fall of innocence, whatever. And it's just easier to digest coming from a female body.
But you know what's nice about it? She very quickly adapts to the wasteland, and she gets kicked around a lot. Like, she goes through a lot in 8 episodes, let's say this.
Yeah.
But it does not change her spirit about things.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that eventually, yes, she does start swearing because she gets very frustrated with things. Yeah. But her her first response is always to try to reason with people and to talk and appeal to the good sense of people. But if that fails, she's not afraid to start blasting.
Because again, I feel like if it were a male body, by episode 4, he and Walton Goggins would be the same character. Yeah. Just running through the wasteland, dual wielding 6 shooters and blowing motherfuckers up the entire time. Right?
Yeah. The ghoul absolutely fucks Lucy over in like midway through the series. And even after all of that, she still helps him. But she does swear at him, which I was just like, there it is. There you go. You call him a motherfucker, Lucy.
Atta girl. No, it's a really, like, yes, and it's also, I think, a question, though, that's worth asking, partly because we are dealing with a lot of, like, fallout of 50s ideals and 50s aesthetics, and you've got these different corners of, like, grappling with themes of, like, America, like, as part of the storytelling, where, like, Maximus is very much the sort of, like, your lower class and, like, the literal physical labor that is kind of the underbelly of keeping the machine running, and it's very much a question of bodies and what can bodies do, like, why having a big giant suit of armor, being the, like, biggest body, the most capable person, like, absolutely, versus Lucy's, her big bodiness is the fact that she's grown up in privilege and not known that, like, what the outside world is comparatively. And I don't know exactly what ghouls would be other than just, like,
Call of Duty shooter man.
Call of Duty shooter man. Be good at gun.
Well, in like the games, it kind of explores ghouls as like second class citizens.
Yes,
there's not as much focus on that here. It's more just like, a ghoul, that's not good.
In the same idea, like, not just, or in the same idea of the body of the ghoul being the sort of, like, like second class citizen, but also, like, mysterious. I don't know. There's a fun idea that we see him. He's one of the first people we see in the show, like, as himself before in this time gone by to then what he is now, that it does, not just because he's dressed like a freaking cowboy, but does make me think of this sort of, like, America's obsession with the Western frontier.
Yeah.
Like, how do you grapple with that when it's no longer even possible, let alone, like, it's just done. It's dead. What do you do now? Like, that dream is gone and was never yours anymore.
Remember, the reason the Wild West is called the Wild West isn't because it was cool and romantic. It's because you could just walk into a saloon and a pissed off guy could shoot you with a 6-shooter.
Right.
Just gone. Right.
And it'll be like 6 months until the Texas Ranger gets anywhere close to his trail.
Exactly. Right.
You cannot call 911 in, like, the 1800s.
It doesn't exist. It's like, oh man, my wife got kidnapped and I got shot in the leg and I have dysentery. They're like, shit, man, you should have went outside at night. I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
Here,
but so,
drink
like,
some
it's
wood
exciting.
grain alcohol.
Right.
It's exciting to have, like, these different characters all dealing with the same apocalypse through very different means, and yet each one really does feel like we're getting some exciting analysis and perspective and ideas of how to grapple from those places, and then in relation to each other.
Yeah, like, this line is from the trailer, but it's also from, like, midway through the series or so, when Maximus and Lucy are looking at the, like, nuclear wreckage of what was previously the capital of the new California Republic, which was the main governing body in California in most of the games, where he says everybody wants to save the world, but they all disagree on how to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you get that perspective from multiple different factions, which I'm glad they touch upon. I'm also glad that they are leaving some of those for like later. Like, they touch on the Enclave, but they don't get super into the Enclave. We get to see that they suck because they threw a puppy in an oven.
Right.
So we instantly know, fuck these guys.
It wasn't 10 ounces. Was it 10 ounces?
We instantly know, fuck these guys, they killed a dog. Like, that, it's the Dio rule. If they kick a dog or hurt a dog, fuck that dude. I'm still furious about that, by the way.
And they did it within like the first 5 seconds. We change perspective, change POV, and they do that within 5 seconds. And already my blood is boiling.
So was that dog.
How dare you?
Oh, no.
You're not invited to my Fallout themed tea party.
They were going to drop an actual nuclear bomb, Bo, and now you don't get to see that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but like, you get the perspective. How does the Brotherhood feel like they're going to save the world? How does the remnants of the New California Republic think that they're going to do it? How does the Vault or Vault Tech, because those are two different perspectives right there, let me tell you that. Yeah, you just get like all of that with all these major factions, and we'll see more in the future, which I can allude to.
Gibby's like season 2.
Season 2.
For the purposes of Kaylie, who has not seen the rest of the show and is going to watch the rest of the show,
I gotta wait another week. I'm
not going to spoil the teaser at the end of this season, but may I just say it was the first time I screamed at an after credits sequence since probably like Infinity War or something like that. It was good to feel that nerdy nostalgia flowing through these old bones.
I'm home.
The series as a whole.
Yeah.
Here's where I have my issues.
Yeah.
You have this thing about video game adaptations. First off, number one, I think Fallout is the final proof I need, along with Castlevania. It's like, hey man, don't try to retell the story of the video game adapted into something that's your own. Right.
Bodio, noted Last of Us hater.
I didn't watch it. I heard it was okay.
I think it's really good, but I never played the game, so it's basically the game.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but not what you're going for.
Yeah, those games are also made by Naughty Dog made games are now made like movies, so it's like but anyway,
the transition was inevitable. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, there are always exceptions to the rules. This game, like Gibby said, kind of told the story of 3 different playthroughs of a Bethesda Fallout game. I had this moment, not so much in the following episodes, but especially in the first episode, where it takes its time to revel in how violent it is, how violent the series is, and how it becomes. Yeah. It tones it down as it goes.
Yes.
Because I don't watch a lot of television, and so especially on that first episode, I'm like, okay, this is your thesis statement. This is your kicker. Why did we spend 20 minutes on a Tarantino-esque raid scene?
Yeah.
20 minutes into the series. The question I wanted to bring to the table is, I think that it does this because either it missed the point or they're trying to make a commentary on how violent the video game is, but without the aspect of it being a video game, right? Because it's Fallout, it's modern Fallout. You're running around, you're shooting people. If there's not people to shoot, then there's not a lot to do. Which, yes, is an emission of violence, but it's also the video game. Without the video game aspect, the excess violent feels pointless. It feels kind of like murder porn, you know?
I disagree. Like, I think it does kind of creep a little too close, and especially depending on taste. I think it does, for the amount of time, creep a little too close to murder porn territory. But I think with the way that it's shot, and what we're focusing on in those moments, I thought it was very exciting because one, I think it's trying to do a little bit of like the second category of what you were saying, like kind of evoke some of that video game violence. Again, reminding people who never touched a game, never knew it was a game in the first place kind of thing. Like that video games are fucking goofy. Video games can be serious and dark and scary and all these things, but also like dealing with combat is not always like cool, slick action movies. Sometimes it's just fucking stupid. And yet so much of it does still look like the choreography in a lot of the first fight is really exciting.
It's super cheesy, and then they had the
cheesy.
1950s music, and it was all in slow motion. And I'm like, this is dumb.
No, but see, I think it was just dumb enough to be so exciting in a way that felt compelling, because I think you're going to have a hard time appealing to fans and appealing to people that don't know the series when you've got something that's going to become like kind of cowboy westernish, but also post-apocalypse, and with everybody thinking of Last of Us or Walking Dead. Like, what do you do to set yourself apart when it comes to the gore and the violence of surviving in that world? That I think you have to lean into that video game heritage a little bit, and then exactly like kind of simmer it down as you go, and you start adjusting after 1 or 2 episodes. But like, I don't see how you wouldn't be able to make that land in such a way without making a little bit of fun in it. And I love the choreography. I wish I knew more about fight choreography to like really, really appreciate it, but there's just so many great uses of slow-mo, like in the game. What I do remember about Fallout is being able to like bullet time and see how much of this man's head am I about to just blow clean off with this headshot. Like, love the like nods in that way of that, again, video game feeling, even if you're not the one in the driver's seat. It's recognizable in this universe.
Gibby, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. One, I think it's the HBO principle that the first episode of a series, to hook audiences, their idea is there has to be a lot of violence or a lot of sex. And there's
show does both.
We got both.
You get both. Yeah, sex and violence. A little smattering of that. I think the other part is narratively to show that the vault dwellers are sheltered and have no true defense against the cutthroat nature of the wasteland, namely through a bunch of drugged up raiders, which shout out to them for having a guy just huff like a canister of jet real quick. Like,
sure, I know what that is.
Yeah, just one of the drugs in Fallout that makes you fight good.
Okay,
like, I was just like, that's funny. That's a nice little nod there.
But also my guy with the just fistful of wedding cake, basically having the same effect. Like,
yeah, they're the same makeup essentially.
Sure.
You can huff.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, that's how I feel when I eat a whole fistful of cake at a wedding. But
you don't remember how turnt you got at the reception, Gibby?
I'm
Come
aware.
on.
There's photo evidence. I recall. But I think also is kind of like Kaylie saying, there's an expectation of like gore, but make it silly, stylish and silly, and over the top and camp and everything. I think, in the first 2 episodes, it is excessive for either the funny factor or the cool factor. But I appreciate that they do, in fact, tone it down.
I really only think it was the first episode. Like the preceding episodes, I agree, they toned it down and used violence when it was necessary.
The second one, we get like more of an
actual,
right? Like we get like a Western shootout kind of fight.
I assume
instead.
that was more so because, again, the ghoul didn't have a lot of screen time in the first episode. Yeah. But you still had these 3 guys bring him back from the dead to go catch a bounty. So for me, that read as, we have to prove this guy was worth digging up and risking their lives outside of you took care of 3 goobers.
He got rid of them so quick. My God.
But he spared the chicken.
He did spare the chicken.
And I think, again, as the series moves away from the, whoa, we're an adaptation of the video games. Look, these are VATs and blah, blah, blah. It definitely improves. where my issue comes is it's to both of your points, right? Where it's like, hey, there's a video game and the vaults aren't safe as people think. Again, it's the shattering of innocence. The characters in the vault never stop to say, hey, what the fuck just happened? Right? They clean it up and they move on, and then Lucy's like, okay, I'm gonna go find my dad. Right?
That's very true.
It feels like there's no it feels like there's no justification for that initial instance where it's just like, here's a 20-minute Tarantino scene. All right, here's actually the story. You know,
I will say this: the most interesting B story to me in the series is Lucy's brother Norman, because he is the least likely hero of all of them. He's a scrawny like tech geek, and he is the one that starts to uncover maybe the most compelling mystery of like what is up with Vault 32 and what is up with Vault 31. And throughout the whole thing, while the rest of the Vault dwellers are like, yeah, we're okay, things are fine, he's like, hey, you know those raiders that like we've got as prisoners? We should probably kill them, right? And everybody's like, golly, that would make us just as bad as them. And he's like, yeah, they're eating our fucking cake, man. This is a problem.
This is our cake.
So you do at least have one person who is like, hey, this is bad and we should check this out. And you also have a couple people who are like, no, it's fine. Wink.
Yeah.
I say not actually winking because I know it's not a visual medium.
No, man.
At least you know.
I hope that, and again, I enjoyed what I watched. I hope that as the series goes forward, they lean heavier into the parts of Fallout that video game nerds tend to ignore, because they always talk about the story, the blah blah blah. Nobody really talks about the gameplay, but it's
Bethesda.
Yeah, Fallout is a commentary, right?
Yeah,
that's the point.
A very political commentary,
extremely political commentary
that some people really miss.
Yeah, when people say "Make America Great Again," it's like, hey, if that works, this is what it looks like. And I hope
those are the fuckers that joined Caesar's Legion because they fucking suck.
I hope they lean a little heavier into that. I really want to see the president, because the president is. I know Fallout 2 the best of all the games.
Yeah.
The president is a character. The president is a character I enjoy, but I also want to see like a more. They purposely make him like kind of scrawny. I kind of want to see like a badass president, but still end in the same results, you know?
We hear about it like in the first episode when people are like, "Oh, we don't turn the TV on. I don't want to be. It's a birthday party. We can't be sad about nuclear warfare impending on our doorstep." And they like keep mentioning like, "Oh, has the president made an appearance?" And there's rumors going around that he's already like hidden underground, sort of thing. That's that like, ooh, mystery character. When do we get to see what has become of them?
Yeah,
ho ho ho.
But you want more of like the political aspect to it.
Yes, me personally. Fallout is a commentary, and I like the commentary.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. It's good commentary. It's well thought through, and it has a very great like multifaceted, multi-face approach to how to unpack something as complex as United Shit Show of America.
The Cold War, capitalism, science without consideration of ethics. Like, there's a lot.
It's easy to be like, oh yeah, our show or our whatever is going to look at that and just feel too specific that you're not even covering everything, or it's just too broad and it feels flat and generic. And the way that the Fallout universe is aesthetically built and then written and lived in is what makes it so exciting to just get to like wander around with all these characters and go, all right.
And I know I'm directly being a hypocrite because I just said that. Also, I want to see the Master, and also I want to see Frank Horrigan.
I hate to tell you this, man, but this happens.
It happens after the Master, right?
It happens 15 years after New Vegas, so like we are like pretty far down the timeline.
Oh wow! So we're way past that. Garbage series, no crisp, flaccid.
Flaccid.
I'm sorry that you don't get your macho man with 2 giant miniguns on his arm.
Damn it!
You can't have that.
Good, bring me another.
Frank Horrigan 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Next season, though, I'm seeing a lot of people go, this show is so damn good, it makes me want to give up binging just so that you can spoon feed me this 1 week at a time.
Fair.
Because so many people I know have been like, I did it all at once and now I'm sad.
We reinvented normal TV.
We really did. No, the true Fallout. We just wanted to reinvent normal television again.
And pay $60 a month for it again.
Bring it back. That's been this episode of the Liberal Artist Podcast. Hey, you listening, thank you so much for joining us, man. Follow us on our social media, follow our YouTube, yada da da da. 5 stars.
Da, da, da,
all that
da,
stuff.
da, da.
Join us next time when we rip our noses off and see how long we can live.
Call out to the Fallout, baby. Ain't got no nose.
Yep, that's how the song goes.
Peace.
The Liberal Artists Podcast premieres every other Thursday on your favorite podcasting platform. The show is hosted by Bodio, Kaylie Horowitz, and Andy Gibson. You can find the show at Liberal Artists Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks to White Hot for performing the theme song Reflect, which can be found on freebeats.io. Now, I'm off to go exploring, and maybe, just maybe, I'll find a sheep that I can call my own. Good day.
Ghouls lose their noses but get to live like 200 years. Honestly,
Yeah.
even trade, baby.
Yeah, I can understand.
That's why Michael Jackson's still alive. Cut that.
Boo.
Cut that.
Hanging out with Elvis and Tupac down in Brazil.
No noses on the lot of them.
Solving crimes.
Shooting people with
Drinking.
rocket guns.
Drinking irradiated blood.
There is a Saturday morning cartoon I would watch.